watch them. I have not.
I was after I met with Karen, you know, just before last month's meeting. And yeah, I mean, she's such a getting, you know, I just kind of told her, listen, I'll keep you updated about. I just told her, Gloria, but don't know you to like.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Listen, I'll email you, let you know what's going on.
We have other people logging in a minute. I'm going to put you on mute for a second.
Hi, I'm in a waiting room that says they will open it for me soon. Barbara Prindle.
When the sound comes back on, Brent, we'll see if Jean heard that.
Okay.
So John Brett also can't get in. So I don't know. And it looks like Jean has disappeared. So
No, there she's back.
okay. Hey, Jean, we have a couple members who can't get in.
I don't know what happened to Fridays being quiet, but they're not quiet anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Anyway, so Barbara Prindle and John Brett are part of our group to get in. Yeah.
There I am.
I just let everybody in. Oh, goodness. Fridays used to be quiet, but they're not quiet anymore. I like your profile picture there, Rich.
I'm pretty surprised to see that, truth be told. I haven't used this program in a while.
So John's coming in, Ken, I assume, John Slowick. Okay. And I'm gonna, you know what, I'm not going to wait. This is sort of just a kickoff and I want to be respectful of the Sharon team's time. So I'm gonna call us to order at 2:36. And I'm gonna find something to write some notes on. Do we have any public comment? John? So we're going to move to welcome and introductions. And on my Brady Bunch panels, I'm going to start with, is it Marcia is the oldest Brady? Which is Jill Drew's Payne. So Jill, go ahead, just let us, tell us who you are and why you're here.
Okay, so I am the co-chair. Hi, everybody. I'm the co-chair of the Sharon Connect Task Force, and I'm here with some of my other members today. And we were just dropping by to say congratulations on forming your committee. And if we can ever be of help, we will be happy to do that. We did a little, one of our members created sort of a little list of some of the things that we've done that we felt helped our committee process continue to move forward. So maybe later I can share that with you guys. And just to let you know that we have our regular meeting at 3 o'clock and I host that. So I'm going to drop off of this call at 2:55 so I can host that meeting.
Great.
But anyway, I'm happy to be here and maybe
once we get through the welcomes, if you want to share that, and we'll go right into that. Brent.
Hello, I'm Brent Brindle. Yes, I'm with Sharon Connect, and hi all.
Barbara.
Brent's wife, also part of the group, Sharon Connect.
Ken.
Okay, I'm a Kent resident and new to this particular process and interested in the subject matter.
John Brett.
Yeah, I'm from Sharon too. I'm part of the Sharon Connect task force, and yeah, here to take in the proceedings on your new committee. Congratulations.
Thanks. Rich.
Hi, I'm a nerd. I have a very technical background. I'm an electrical engineer, but I run a hedge fund now. I also code, so I come in very handy. And under our holdings has been multiple communication fiber optic companies. We've all owned a few of them over the years. The latest one being First Light. So there you have it. I'm a nerd, so thank you.
You're in good company. John Slowick.
I'm like Ken Cooper. I live in Kent, and I'm completely new to this process, and so I'm looking forward to finding out what's happening and how I can help.
Great. You want to wrap us up, Alexandra?
Yes. Hi, I'm Alexandra Peters. I'm part of the Sharon Connect, and I'm so happy that you guys are doing this. This is wonderful.
Awesome. And I'm Jane Speck. I'm first selectman. I'm not going to answer my phone. My administrative assistant's out today, but I'm gonna not answer the phone and focus here. Jill, do you want to, let me change the settings on screen share so that you can screen share.
Okay, great.
Should be all set.
Okay, great. So
I'm sorry, I should say, I asked the Sharon team, Jill and I have known each other for a couple of years now. And when I heard she was working with a team in Sharon, and I had seen their survey and have been hearing really great things through Maria Horn, I asked if she would come and just sort of share pearls of wisdom. And this might be Rufus Duran, so I am going to answer it, but I'm going to go on mute.
okay, so we have been around since November of 2019. One of our selectmen, Jessica Fowler, had been a board member of Northwest Connect. And when she chose to step away from the Board of Selectmen and go on our Board of Finance, she asked a group of us to get together and continue to move forward with some kind of universal connectivity that Sharon might adopt. And so this group, we're now 11 people, and we've been meeting weekly, pretty much weekly since November 2019. And the point where we're at right now is the town of Sharon issued an RFP in the summer for $30,000 to conduct a kind of high-level engineering analysis of Sharon to figure out how much it would cost to build a town-owned fiber optic network, how long that would take, roughly how much that might cost in terms of residents who might want to subscribe to that service, and what services would be provided. So we are in the midst now of this engineering analysis, and they're supposed to get us our results. We're supposed to do a report to the Board of Selectmen in January, coinciding with the beginning of our town budget cycle. And our goal really is, as we've written here, is basically to present the residents of the town of Sharon with all the information they need to make an informed choice at a town vote on how and whether to provide universal access to reliable and affordable high-speed internet to all the homes and businesses. So as you guys are getting into this, there's just a lot of different arms to this octopus. And so as we've been thinking about, many towns have task forces, and not everybody has gotten to the point that we've gotten to. So we just decided we would put down some of the things here that we thought were really important to our success. And I'll just run through them quickly. So one of them is, we do have 11 members, and everybody does a job. Everybody is contributing something. It's not like we just meet and we all talk about how great, high-speed internet is. Barbara Prindle used to be the head of our Board of Finance for many years, and so she's been really, really helpful. We've gotten 2 town grants, one for this RFP and one for a survey that we did. They paid for the mailing and the printing of that. She's been really helpful in guiding us in how our processes can fit in with the town's budget processes. And that has been a hang up in other towns. There's been a committee that hasn't been associated, that doesn't know this about the town. And then when they bring their plan to the town, it doesn't go anywhere because they don't have that knowledge. Practical knowledge of the town's existing utility infrastructure. Brent Prindle used to own Cornwall Electric. He's been in almost every single house in Sharon. He knows the electric grid. He knows a lot about this. And so that's been super helpful for us in trying to get our arms around where are wires underground, where are wires overhead, where are the private roads that there are no town services up to them, that kind of thing. That's been really helpful. The strategic understanding of telecom companies' objectives. One of our members is in strategic planning at Verizon. So he's been very helpful on lots of things to do with this. One of our members, Roger Laurie, is an engineer. A few of us, me, Alexandra, Linda Nyberg, all have backgrounds in communication and communication skills. My co-chair, Megan Flanagan, knows how to design websites. She knows how to do emails. She knows how to do online mapping. She knows how to do online surveys. She and Bren have done database management. So all of those things have really helped us with all of our communication. One of our members, Patrick Galloway, used to work on Wall Street. And so he's been helping us with various options for how we could finance any project. And then basically we stay in contact with other towns, both national and local. We stay in touch with different organizations. We are really close touch with Comcast, who is our incumbent provider. And Maria Horn and regulatory officials at the Office of Consumer Counsel have been extremely, extremely helpful. So those would be all the things in terms of our committee, and the fact that we all have responsibilities for doing these things has moved us along. We do a lot of planning and organization. The co-chairs send a lot of, well, I don't know, you guys can say a lot of content heavy emails, but they're short, but we try to keep everybody on task. Megan Flanagan has taken the lead in, if we have people here in Sharon who are having issues with their connectivity right now, we've done a lot of personal problem solving for them with Comcast, Frontier, Starlink, and HughesNet. So that has won us a lot of goodwill on the part of people in the town. We have a regular meeting every week, every Friday at 3. And that has been really, really helpful to keep us on task. Anybody who wants to come to our meetings, just lets us know. We send them the link. We haven't been Zoom bombed yet, knock wood, but that people have come on and off the committee. And so it doesn't feel exclusive or secretive, I don't think. We have, like I said, we have a close working relationship with town officials. We report to them quite frequently about what we're doing. And Brent Colley, our first selectman, basically has just said, do what you need to do to get me a plan to put in front of a town vote, maybe by next May. And we'll see if it goes up or down. So that's what we're doing. We are not in anybody's, we don't favor a particular supplier or a particular way of doing this. We don't favor whether it's fiber optic or cable or, I guess we don't really think satellite would work. But anyway, we're not, it has to be fiber or nothing. We're open to all residents. We have spent a lot of hours mapping the existing utility grid here in Sharon, where wires are overhead, where they're underground, which utility pole serves which house, to the extent. Now that part of it, we've only done about 1.5 neighborhoods, but and that probably isn't needed at this point, that level of granularity, because we're still at this high level engineering phase. But we're this database will be helpful to the town, regardless of what happens with a plan to build fiber optic or not. We do a lot of outreach and communication. So a lot of email newsletters. We have a website. We send stuff out to the press. We've had 2 community meetings on Zoom. Both of them had more than 50 people. I think one of them had like 70 or 80 to hear about what we're doing. We have another one coming up in December. And the online resident survey. We sent out 1,500 surveys, both online and in print, and we got to households. We got household response from 551 households. So that's a huge return from the survey. And so I think, and then one time when the emergency broadband benefit was just starting from the Federal Communications Commission, that was last summer, we sat at a table outside Sharon Pharmacy to kind of introduce people to ourselves and to the emergency broadband benefit. And so, we know, I think people know that we exist. And then lastly, I would just say is that Northwest Connect, which is the regional advocacy group for fiber optic, they have done terrific baseline analysis of sort of the situation in our region and a couple of other studies. And we have found those very helpful as like our grounding. And then we've sort of taken things from there in a Sharon direction. So I don't know if anybody else on the Sharon committee wants to add or say anything about that, any of this. I'll stop sharing.
Can I ask a question? Did you say something earlier about finding grant money and other, it seems like funding is one of the key things you got to work on. What did you say about that early in the call?
We haven't applied for any grants. We've just had the town fund $3,000 for our resident survey, and the town through property tax dollars fund $30,000 for this request for this engineering analysis. We haven't spent a lot of time applying for grants because generally grants need a shovel-ready project, and we're not there yet. And so this new component, and basically we were pretty much prepared to ask the town to fund this 100%. Now that there is the ARPA dollars are available for broadband, although no town could build fiber optic with their ARPA dollars, because I mean, for Sharon, it's probably going to come in between $7 and $9 million, and our total ARPA money is $800,000. But maybe there's something like a survey or something that you could do that you could fund through ARPA dollars. There now is this $100 and whatever billion of federal infrastructure dollars that is really interesting. And there is, I think that would be the next go-to place really for Kent. The number one, if you can prove you're underserved or unserved, I mean, Kent can't prove it's unserved, but you could definitely prove you're underserved. Like Sharon has 27 miles of road that are not served by high-speed wired connection from Comcast, and at least 240 businesses and residents who don't have Comcast. So we can prove we're underserved. So if you're underserved, then some of those federal dollars can be used for not just the projects itself, but some of the things you might need to do to get ready to be a shovel-ready project.
And Jill, the mapping that you did, is that through this engineering firm or?
I'll let Brent answer that.
No, we did that all on our own. We're going around just mapping all of the poles, where the wires go, the whole thing. So that's
there's a free, maybe you want to mention, Bren, there's a free GPS app on your phone that can upload to Google Maps.
Yeah, there's many apps that you can do. And it was a little process getting it all set up and everything, but it all worked out good. At some point, we could even share it with you so you see what it is and how we did it, the whole thing.
But if anybody wanted to actually install the fiber optic, whatever you're heading for, fiber optic, they'd have to redo that, right? They wouldn't rely on
consumer
amateur analysis.
We're working with our so Surtex Broadband Systems is doing our engineering analysis, and they are working with some of our data, and then they will do a write around to double check it. But again, they are doing the high level analysis. So when it actually comes to if the town votes to go ahead and do the fiber optic network, that would probably be a lot of that work would be checked.
My only thought is that we are talking now about fiber optics, but we have looked and are still looking at anything else to bring to the selectmen to give them the pros that's they make the decision.
I think
Comcast covers the entire town. It's just the one.
Except for the places that don't have have anything. Yeah.
And I think what Barbara just said is, is really a point to emphasize, which is we're not the arbiters of what's best and which way to go yet on our own, but what we're trying to do is bring as much information to the table. So is fiber better than cable? Sure it is. But that's one of the considerations. Does that mean we're advocating just for fiber? No, it doesn't. We've really done a nice job of collecting as much information as we can about the providers in the areas and what other towns have done, and really just leading up to bring it to the town to get consensus around what the entire town would want, and then whatever happens from there will happen. But the idea of just bringing in all the information that you can without any advocacy for one thing or another is, I think, really important to the community, because if anybody gets the idea that you got an agenda, I think you hit a wall with that.
Did you guys find that the Northwest Connect report from 2020 and the maps from the COG did in 2019 were useful, or are they outdated already?
I
Are
think
you
they're-
referring to the FCC maps, like what the
The
FCC
COG had put
considers?
together like a package of maps for each town in the region that had like where fixed broadband already existed, cellular service, et cetera. And I think they did the road miles and stuff.
Yeah, so that's a good, I think Rufus, I think it's still pretty accurate. There are some places where, like we know in, for example, in Comcast, you know, if a road, people on a road get together and they pay Comcast $60,000 or something, they will build. So there may be some things that are, but I think that they used, John, correct me if I'm wrong, like subscriber data from the providers to do those maps. And I think that those were pretty good. And we used those as a beginning point to just sort of understand where we were at, but we didn't actually get the data from them. Brent, you want to?
Yeah, I found that their information, even though they said a road had cable on it, of course, yeah, the first house on that road had cable and all the rest of the road didn't have cable. So that's where their information was not correct.
Okay.
And that's where all of misconception comes in about how much you're covered or not covered, because I think the cable companies did that on purpose. Maybe they put two houses in on the road with the cable and nobody else has it on the road. So they count that road as being done.
Yeah, that's the old FCC or current FCC. Like, you have access to broadband if one house within the whatever unit.
Yeah, the FCC number is almost completely erroneous because of that.
Unsurprising.
I'm just going to hop off now because I have some other people coming onto our call, but any of you Sharon Connect people, please stay and answer questions. So thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Jill. We're gonna,
Yeah, I'm gonna go
continue the
too, because I want
conversation.
to speak to some of the guys that are coming to ours.
yeah. And I appreciate everybody from the Sharon team coming and sharing their wisdom and, you know, where you are. to
And
hear what-
anytime you want, get in touch. And I think with any of us if you want, or just through Jill, whichever way you'd like.
Great. Thank you guys so much. This has
Yeah,
been
that's right. Consider us a resource as you're going about this. That's exactly.
terrific. It's nice having you right there, for sure.
Do you need us for anything else or are you?
I don't think so. I don't want to hold you all up from going to your actual meeting.
Don't want to miss our meeting. That's for sure.
Right.
Hey, nice to meet you all and good
Nice to
luck.
meet you
And like I
too.
said, consider
Thanks.
us a
Yeah,
resource.
We'll stay in touch for sure.
We're right up the road and we have a JP Giffords too.
Okay. Thanks, yeah.
Okay, bye. All.
Bye.
Bye. So that was great. I'm glad they came in and were able to give an overview. It seems to me that they've been moving really quickly in comparison to a lot of the other towns. A lot of the other towns are sort of not stalemated, but just moving more slowly. So I think we have pearls to take from them for sure. Rufus came on while we were having the presentation from Jill. Rufus, do you want to just give a quick intro and why you're here?
So my name is Rufus Durham, not my dad, the younger one. I'm the executive director of the Warner Theater in Torrington, and I live in Kent, right north of Bulls Bridge on 7. So I actually have decent internet, but even that's not super reliable. But my interest in this is, I think it's crucial for economic development for our whole region and the future sustainability of our town and people I want more young families in this town, and we need to be active to support new types of business and new companies moving into town. And I think this is the way forward. I'm pretty active. I'm a board member of the Regional Economic Development Corporation for Northwest Corner, and I'm active in a lot of rural economic development groups. So
Thanks, Rufus.
Thanks. So
So
Jean,
we-
before we get going, did I miss, but is there a statement of what the objectives of the committee are and what it's supposed to accomplish and things like that, that you've got written down someplace that I could take a look at?
So we've gotten a charge from the Board of Selectmen, and that was done with the formation of the committee. And the charge is always in the footer of our agenda, but I'll read it to you.
Did I get an agenda? Was there an agenda? I didn't see an agenda.
I thought I had sent out the agenda, but
I got a Zoom
if-
link. Okay. Was it with the Zoom link?
no, not the Zoom link that I just sent. I thought I had sent the agenda a couple of weeks ago. I
No.
will put it on the screen share for everybody, so we can just use that for the just sort of to keep us all focused on where we are. And I did go out a little bit out of order because I wanted to get Jill through. So can everybody see that?
Yep.
And then at the bottom, the Kentconne Broadband Working Group charge is to explore capabilities, options, capabilities, and costs to bring broadband to all residents in town and to make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen. So it's pretty broad, but that's usually by design, so it doesn't paint us into a corner of having to go back to the board to say, well, we want to explore this. So can you extend our charge? So we wanted to keep it broad because this is such a huge topic.
Okay.
So just to go back to number 4, we do need to appoint a committee chair and a secretary so that we make sure that we stay on the straight and narrow with FOI and get the minutes and all the meetings will be recorded, so they'll be available to the public. Because this is obviously going to be a very public intensive process. And so we want to make sure we do this the right way. So with that, I don't know if there's anyone who is interested in taking on the chair. I know Rufus and I had discussed it in the past.
Yeah,
I would like.
I am unable to take on a chair level position just because of my other commitments right now.
Okay,
But I can definitely, maybe I could be the secretary.
okay. Well, I'll nominate Rufus as the secretary so that we can get one of these items taken care of. And I need a second for that.
A second.
Thank you, Ken. Anybody have any questions or discussion? So we're all voting on this because we're all voting members of the committee. So all those in favor of appointing Rufus as the secretary, either say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Thank you. So on to a chair. In trying to delegate as best as I can, I'd really love to assign another member as the chair. I know that we have assembled some really smart people here, and I know that the support is going to be, I'm looking at the support similar to what Jill was talking about in, things are going to get assigned out to each member based on their expertise. And we all have different expertise, and that's sort of part of the reason why I was hoping that we could get this group together. So I don't see the chairmanship being a heavy lift because these meetings, we're all going to be working together. It's really just, the running of the meeting and the being the point of contact for the group. So love to get somebody to step up front. I have 3 other committees that I'm on and a couple of other fires burning here, mixing in the soup. And again, we're all here to support each other, absolutely. And I know that Jill is a huge support resource, and the folks at Northwest Connect are what we're going to probably bring them in for the next meeting. So you'll see how there's a lot of resources out there for all of us to be able to move forward with this. Anybody, I'll take. I can't take chairman. I just can't take the chair because it's taking away from, the other responsibilities that I have here. So we need somebody just to run the meetings.
Yeah.
No takers. No, John, you're shaking your head.
No, I'm on 5 boards. I don't have the time to do it. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah,
Understandable.
I'm on 3 other boards too.
Yeah,
I'm just not gonna have the time to do that.
completely understandable.
So their committee in Sharon has 11 members. We have 5. Sounds like are they a bigger town? They get doubled in number?
No, it's if anything, a slightly smaller town. They went about theirs a little bit differently, and every town does go about it a little bit differently. And that group is actually more of a citizen action based group, whereas this is a subcommittee of the Board of Selectmen. And I think that they had a larger group that were really interested in moving forward with, creating this this plan for the town, and the town board said, run with whatever you want to run with. We can definitely put out another ask in a newsletter on Facebook to get more members, because now that I've seen what Jill, what that group is walking through, I think we're going to need more members in order to, task out all the different sort of arms of the octopus. So I can do that in the next newsletter.
The
so
thing
that-
Sorry, Ken.
The thing that I took away from her presentation most clearly is that they really had a broad base of skills on their committee that were directly related to focusing on this issue, none of which we have. I mean, if you pull back up her agenda, do you still have the?
She did not share that with me, but I can certainly get it pretty easily.
But, they had, she went down with the list of the skills that they had. They had engineering skills. They had people that, understood the electrical utilities, in the town, et cetera, et cetera. And if that's going to be a critical component, then I think, which it appears to be, because we're dealing with a very technical subject, and we're going to have to dig into the weeds in order to get this done. It seems like our first responsibility before even getting a chair is to expand the size of this committee, and not just ask for a broad request for people, but say that we're looking for people with these specific skills to become part of it, because I feel totally inadequate in all of those areas.
Yeah. That's a very good point, Ken. I think by way of expanding my background, so I'm a retired investment banker, and among the boards I'm on is one of them is a fiber optic cable company in Alaska. But my knowledge about how they actually build stuff out is that I just tell them to do it and it gets done. So I'm not going to be technically knowledgeable in this department. But I don't know if we have people with those skills, but someone who knows some of those other areas would be very helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how many people in town have that direct background though.
Well, Rich, you have some of that background that we're talking about.
Yeah, technically, all of it. All
Yeah.
of it. I don't know the electrical infrastructure of the town though.
Okay, so I texted Jill. Hopefully, they
I could
just
learn
started
it.
their meeting.
I don't know why that's important. So then I'm even worse off than you. Okay.
But I think what about is this, I agree that we should expand this, because we'll also need to do sort of that outreach to get the messaging out to people to do the test, the broadband test website thing that gets data. But also, is there another, is Glenn or my dad able to take a chair position on a subcommittee, Jean? Is that a thing that other select people can do?
Well, there's a lot of other subcommittees that they would be getting involved with the vacancy, you know, with the switch over from Chris and Ed to Rufus and Glenn.
Yeah.
So, and what the model is that these subcommittees have one member of the board on each subcommittee so that we are the liaison back to the board so that we can have that direct link back to the Board of Selectmen. Oh, yeah, she's going to send it over. So, I mean, we certainly can ask them if they want to come on board, but I think
look,
going
like,
with the,
if we really are up against it and we can't come up with a chair, I guess I could chair, but that's going to be,
you could be a reluctant chair.
I can be a reluctant chair, but it's, you know, it's going to be hard. I'm going to need some help from the secretary. Just because I'm also on lots of boards.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think so many people are so busy these days. So I think,
And
you know,
also, I don't know if there's any conflict of interest there with because I'm vice chair on Board of Finance, and this is going to inevitably come up to a Board of Finance vote. So I
oh,
have to
being
recuse myself.
right, being in a leadership position,
You can
might
recuse
get
yourself, yeah.
sticky. That's true too.
I think
So
we just
why
need a
don't
couple
we
extra
hold off
people.
assigning a chair for the moment for this meeting? I'll make sure that for the next meeting, we get an agenda, Zoom link, but maybe we want to focus on, let me see if it's in my,
Yeah, I think
mailbox.
maybe like one or two downtown business is there somebody from the chamber that we have close ties to that would be interested in this board? I mean, because that's like a subsect that most directly affects. And then I would guess like somebody from the schools. I don't know.
Well, you know, this is a difficult topic to get your arms around.
Yes.
And
it is
so
really an octopus.
I think we need to step back a minute. And it's because the mission statement that we have does not really set out why we need to undertake this effort for the benefit of the town.
Mhm.
And I think kind of getting on what Rufus said earlier, that what we need to do is we need to create a broader, more clearly communicatable mission statement that makes a more compelling sales pitch to members of the community why a group like this is really important to the future of the town.
I
And
can
then
take a
once
crack
we
at
get,
that.
okay, once we get that in place, we're in a much better position to go in front of the Chamber of Commerce and saying, look, we need to get a really fulsome group together to focus on this issue of the town for the following reasons. This is why it's important to the businesses of the town. This is why it's important to our future. And then, in fact, we'll be able to go to several groups and, make the same pitch and enlist their support to help us find the kind of skills that we need to be effective. I mean, I can't believe that, Sharon's a lot smaller community than Kent. And if they were able to find those level of skills inside their community, I would guess that we should be able to find similar type of folks.
Yeah, I mean, because you're looking at the three other, I think Norfolk and Falls Village are the other two towns that are somewhat along this process, other than Torrington Winstead, which is a whole separate.
Right. They have different resources.
Yeah, but Falls Village and Norfolk are two places that have somewhat active broadband committees.
So let me ask two basic questions, dumb questions probably. One is, first is the dumb question. The members have to be residents of Kent, I assume, right? Okay, because I have a good friend who would be perfect, but he lives in Cornwall
Well, I mean,
Bridge.
do they have a weekend home in Kent? Because I think that would count.
No, they have a weekend home in Cornwall Bridge. And then the second question I was going to ask is, Richard, do you have any friends in Kent?
I do. I'll work on it. I don't want to volunteer anybody, but yes,
Of
I
course.
could find I'll dig up a chair in 3 days.
Okay, that's great. Yeah,
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and then would you all be comfortable? I don't know, Gene, because I have some documentation from the COG that I can share. I'm sure you have that same documentation, but if we want to start like a Google Drive, just to like put the information that we already have, so we're not starting from scratch.
Yep.
So I have the Northwest Connect 2020 report, and then I have those maps from 2019 that are just basic PDFs. They're not super useful, but there's 12 different maps of Kent
Yep.
around both cell phone use and broadband.
Yeah, I can definitely do that this afternoon. I'll create a couple of folders and invite everybody to the folder so that it's all populated there for everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll also be publicly
That would be great.
accessible.
So Rufus, are you going to do a first draft? Did I hear you say you're going to do a first draft of?
Yeah, I can do a first draft of why broadband.
I think
and
that's.
so the purpose of the committee is look at broadband, which I view as like the fiber optic driven or satellite, as opposed to cell coverage, right? The cell coverage is not an
Correct.
issue for us.
Well, cell coverage is an issue.
Cell cover
That's
is an
another-
issue. It's a separate issue.
I thought
John,
that
my
was
house
the-
fronts on
Yeah,
Route
okay.
7, 2 miles north of the Congregational Church, and I have no cell service at my house. And I'm an AT&T FirstNet customer.
Well, Rufus, when you do look, I think this is a major issue because when people hear about this, the first question afterwards is, why aren't you guys going to focus on cell service? Because the cell service around here is really quite challenging.
Uneven.
And it's very uneven. So if we're only going to focus on broadband, then you can't ignore that. And you've got to be able to articulate why that's not part of our charge. And Gene, I think you have to be prepared from the town. Is there a separate group that's going to focus on cell service? Wireless service?
There's not right now.
I mean, I think
And
that
I'm wondering if it couldn't be looped in with this group.
yeah, I know the initial, like back in 2019, when this, the 2018, 2019 COG sessions, when this really started taking off, it was also cell service. Like they did an initial study of like how many road miles were without cell service and then
Right.
how many housing units were without broadband. I mean, very broadly, but I don't know where the cell service information is, but I'm sure it's somewhere. I
Well,
think
it seems
cell
like-
service, the cell
it seems
service
like-
is going to be a harder sell to the town, given the controversy of just the current cell tower going up. But I agree that it is needed and it goes hand in hand. The trick is going to be people being, why can't 5G work to provide broadband? And it's because in this region, 5G is not a reliable alternative to fiber optic because of how the hills and the trees affect.
And it's too, I need a density for that too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm going to be really interested to see like the estimate in 2020 for fiber to the home for Kent was 4.5 million. And I'm going to be interested to see how accurate that was.
So
Sounds
that
low.
was an estimate somebody made to put fiber to every home in Kent.
Yeah, assuming that all 90 road miles would need to be covered.
That has
Um,
got to be complete nonsense. I mean, I
Yeah.
can't think we get anywhere near that, but okay. Maybe. I think,
and
Seems
that's
low.
assuming it's all above ground and there's no underground, you know.
oh, I got it. Yeah, okay, because I was thinking getting up my driveway would cost more than, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my father-in-law's in Salisbury and they had to pay the whole thing from the top of their their private road down was almost $40,000.
Above ground or below?
I have to run.
Okay, I think that's
Okay.
great. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
All right, so I will draft a Y fiber, Y broadband advocacy sheet, like a one sheet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I think the next step too is then going to be broadening the group just by a couple members so that we can maybe identify a chairperson.
Mhm.
And I think if Rufus, not Rufus, sorry, if the fellow who just left, David,
Rich.
Rich, if he has, if he seems to be, knows a lot. I mean, if he's made investments in this space, he must know people and he must have friends in this area. So I would hope that he'd be a fertile source for a couple, three people to come in.
Yeah.
And who's the current chair of the Chamber of Commerce?
It's a co-chair, Stacy, oh my goodness. Marson and Sarah Marshall at the library.
Really?
I
Well,
think Sarah's only on there for this term, right? She's
Right,
temporary.
right. She's not going to continue on. And the director just retired, so they're in that search mode as well.
well, it seems like we need to reach out to the chamber
Mhm.
sooner rather than later and enlist their support in enlarging this committee, because of all the groups, they have a direct vested interest.
Yeah, for sure.
And if they're not represented, that would be, it seems like it would be really problematic.
Okay, I can make that phone call. That reach out. What do we want to do with meeting schedule? I know everybody's extremely busy.
I mean, in general, Friday afternoons I try to leave open. So right now they're free. But I'm fairly, depending on like Wednesday or Thursday, Friday are my most flexible days.
Mhm.
Monday and Tuesday is in general, no go.
Yeah. same.
Friday afternoons are best for me. I've got a 4:30 most Friday afternoons. 3:30 is fine, but I just don't think I'm in a position right now to have a weekly meeting.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I don't
about the
think we're
dates if
there
you-
yet.
Yeah.
I think Friday
imagine-
afternoons would work for me too. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just
Just checking.
stay with this 2:30 slot. Does anybody mind if we flex to 3? It's causing my Kent sustainability meetings to get.
As long as I can leave by 4:30, I'm fine.
Yeah. So, okay, so we will do that. And do you want to have the next meeting 2 weeks from today?
That's
I feel like a
Thanksgiving.
whole month is, oh, that's right. So not 2 weeks from today.
Well,
How,
if Richard said he could find some people within 3 days, maybe there's an update we can have. I don't know.
okay, so if
Maybe
that
look
works
at
for
some, look
everybody.
at some of the materials that are produced by Rufus and and if David's got some people, maybe next week is fine. And then maybe we push that then 2 weeks later, I mean.
Okay, and Rufus is a week enough to put together at least a draft of a
Yes.
pager.
Yeah. Well, we can circulate a draft online and be commenting back to each other. We don't have to wait for a meeting on that.
That's true too. That's true too.
Yeah, mine next week is really bad for me because I have 4 board committee meetings at the Warner. Because our end of year meeting is on the 22nd. So if we could push to the December 3rd for our next meeting, that would be best.
I'm okay December the 3rd, but December the 10th. On the 8th, I'm having a shoulder replacement surgery. I don't think I'm gonna be in pretty good, in good shape for a couple of days after that.
Yeah, so let's try for the 3rd, and then I will put the draft forward much earlier than that to everybody on the board.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
All right. And I appreciate everybody's sort of flexing with this very big, long-legged octopus that, and I think it's going to take a couple of meetings for us to get all the pieces and parts understanding so that we have a way forward. And, it's just part of the process because it's such a big project, but very much appreciate it.
And Jean, would you send around that agenda again? Because I did not get that the first shot.
Yes, I apologize. Is it okay with everybody if when Rufus, I can do this for everybody, I'll do the next agenda and continue to do the Zoom links just because I have the template. Everybody works okay within Google Calendar, just me attaching it to a Google Calendar invite.
I
That
think
works.
so.
Okay. And then they're always on the website, the town website as well. But yeah, I apologize that I clearly did not get that sent out.
But do we need a
Alrighty.
motion to adjourn?
Yep.
I make the motion to adjourn.
I second it. Well, there's that.
have a nice weekend, everybody.
Fantastic.
Have a nice
Thanks,
weekend. Thank
everybody.
you. Thank you.
Have a
Okay.
good weekend and a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.